I don't know if this can really be considered a bake-off, but it was the only term I could think of to describe this situation, so my apologies. Basically, this past weekend, my sister-in-law and I decided to do a bake-off to see whose très cake our family liked more. Sister-in-law and I both consider ourselves good cooks. We always share the responsibility of making the food for family dinners or lunches where we all get together since we both enjoy it. We both like to brag about our homemade très cakes. We always have friendly banter with each other about how mine would kick yours' butt, mine would put yours to shame, etc. This is 100% in a joking way and how we joke around with each other. Sister-in-law and I have a great relationship with each other. Or so I thought. So we decided to actually see whose cake tasted better at a recent family dinner that we had. We both agreed beforehand that it would be just for jokes and there would be no hard feelings, obviously because it's just a cake. Boy, I was wrong. Fast forward, we finish dinner and it's dessert time. Sister-in-law and I bring out our cakes for the family to try. Now, I will admit her presentation looked way better than mine. It was a circular cake though and perfectly iced and decorated. Unusual for the usual très, but whatever. Before we started eating, sister-in-law asked if someone could run to the kitchen and grab the cake cutter tool she bought at the store the other day. My husband volunteered since he was getting a refill of his wine anyway. Husband comes back in a minute later with his glass of wine, the cake cutting tool, and a receipt that had one large très cake and a cake cutter tool purchased from our local bakery earlier this morning. He questions my sister about this jokingly. Sister-in-law loses her marbles and starts yelling at him why he was going through her stuff. My husband explained that the cake cutter tool was inside her plastic grocery bag. Right under it was a receipt. So he grabbed it by accident with the tool and looked at it without thinking anything, and lo and behold, my father-in-law and I started laughing a little bit. Brother-in-law, not sister-in-law's husband, my other brother-in-law, 22, chimes in and is all like, "So much for homemade très from scratch, huh?" Now this whole time I'm sitting there silently because what the heck am I supposed to say? Suddenly, sister-in-law starts going off on me, saying how I tried to outshine her by making mine from scratch. I'm like, huh? I thought that was the whole point of this, and also yours looks way better than mine, so how did I outshine you? She starts saying she's pregnant and the least I could have done was let her win. She stormed out and has been bad-mouthing my husband and me ever since. I feel bad because it was supposed to be a fun, light-hearted little competition. Most of the family is split because some feel like I could have given her a heads up. So, am I the idiot? Excuse me, heads up for what? I'm really struggling to understand how the family would think that anyone did anything wrong except your sister-in-law. Your husband found the receipt in a perfectly innocent way. Why is she accusing you of not letting her win? You didn't find the receipt. I don't understand how any of this is lying at your feet. You showed up with a homemade cake. That is all you did. Yet somehow family thinks you did something wrong? Not the idiot, but I'm wondering if some of your family are idiots. Yeah, I mean, was it some kind of open secret in the rest of the family that sister-in-law's cakes had never actually been homemade? How else did OP's making her cake from scratch for a home baking competition merit any heads up? OMG, this is hilarious. Busted. This is pretty funny. I'm not sure what she thought you were supposed to do about her cheating. So, did yours taste better than the bakery cake? LOL. OP, you did nothing wrong. You just sat there as all this unfolded, so I can't see how you're at fault. Sister-in-law cheated and got caught. Instead of admitting fault, she threw a hissy fit. She tried to defend her actions by claiming her pregnancy should absolve her of her bad behavior. Hopefully, her tantrum is a result of pregnancy hormones and an apology will be on the way. If not, let her continue to sulk and don't apologize. She's rightfully embarrassed and needs to just take her lumps instead of lashing out like a toddler. Anyway, I wish I could have tried your cake. My ex and I have a teen daughter together. My ex and her husband wanted to take my daughter and their kids on a trip. My daughter hates going on trips with her mom. Some of her reasons are that they get one room for all the kids. Her half-siblings are a nearly adult female and a pre-tween male, and she hates sharing a room with them. A lot of the activities are child-friendly because of her younger brother, which she finds boring. Also, it was a 13-hour drive, which she finds really tiring. They either eat homemade food or eat in low-quality restaurants to save more money, and my daughter hates low-quality food. Her mom insisted that she needed to go with them, so I decided to make this more pleasant for her. I talked to her mom and decided to go to that city and spend time with my daughter. For example, whenever they want to do a child-friendly activity, I take my daughter somewhere else, and she agreed. My daughter and I decided to go by plane because we both hated being on the road for a long time. Then, when we were there, I got a room for her so she didn't have to share with anyone. We would eat breakfast together in a really nice restaurant nearby. Then she would spend time with her mom's family until lunchtime. Then I would take her out and bring her back after dinner. Now my ex is saying I'm an idiot for ruining their trip. Apparently this is not what she agreed to. I made her other kids jealous because they had to watch their sister get a room for herself and eat better food and come back from shopping with her hands full of new stuff. I wonder if I was actually the idiot. I mean, she agreed that I'd be there and spend time with my daughter, so I don't understand why she's suddenly acting like this. You are the idiot. Of course it would create animosity between siblings to have such different experiences. Why would the nearly adult child enjoy stuff with the younger sibling any more than your daughter would? You're creating a self-centered monster who won't cope well in the real world if she's too good for low-quality food as a teen and can't handle a family vacation. How will she handle work experiences? College? She won't handle work experiences either. She'll just quit and blame it on her co-workers. What I find so depressing about these things is often when the kids are 19 or 20, after years of being entitled and pampered, the parents get angry because their kid is now considered a bratty adult and want to cut the kid off and toss them out because they act exactly the way they were raised to act. I'm getting idiot vibes from you because you seem to look down your nose on eating homemade food and low-quality restaurants to save money. You are raising your daughter to be a pretentious snob. It was an idiot move to send your daughter back to her mom and siblings with new stuff from shopping sprees. You could have kept that stuff in your room. My gut tells me you enjoyed rubbing all of this in your ex's face. Yep, your interference was ridiculous. The only time it's appropriate to interfere with the other parent when co-parenting is if harm is being done. Sharing a hotel room with siblings is normal. Eating homemade food is not a problem. Eating at cheaper restaurants is fine. Road trips are fine. Sounds like you still hold resentment towards your ex and use your money to make sure your daughter prefers spending time and money with daddy instead of mommy. You knew exactly what you were doing and you're acting coy here. My husband is a chronic procrastinator. He has ADHD and I'm sure that plays a role, but I will say that it mostly comes down to things like chores. Regarding leisure activities, he doesn't procrastinate at all and usually rushes me. So basically, he'll say things like, I'll do the dishes when I get back from the store, and then never do them because he forgets. Or if the trash needs to be taken out, he'll say, wake me up in the morning when you get the kids on the bus and I'll do it then, but then never does. If the house needs cleaning and I start getting to work, he will try to convince me to wait a few hours so he can help. But if I do wait, it never gets done. And it truly is him forgetting. It's not deliberate by any means. Even if he's the one cooking dinner that night, he'll usually forget that he's cooking and randomly say, oh damn, and run out of the room at $1.10 so he doesn't burn the food because he truly forgot he was cooking at all. I always remember and am super aware of everything, so obviously I would never let it get to the point of disaster, but I do make a point of not saying anything unless I absolutely have to. Anyway, this is how it's always been. I'm so used to it now that it doesn't bother me. I actually enjoy cleaning, but some days the help would be nice, and he does help when he actually remembers. He's not useless by any means, and he does absolutely try to take the load off my hands. He truly just forgets often. But I will say lately I've been frustrated. I'm 20 weeks pregnant, getting a little slow on movement and increasingly tired and I dare say lazy myself. I still do my part, but I admittedly do not want to. Hormones and fatigue are a nightmare. But anyways, I got in a deep clean mode about 2 days ago and started going ham on this house. My husband said he wanted to help me, but had an appointment to detail a vehicle first. So he leaves. The appointment should have only been an hour, but he came back in roughly 2.5. Turns out he knew the guy from school and they were catching up. By the time he got home, the house was sparkling clean. He says, crap, I should have come home sooner. I got caught up and forgot. So I said, that sounds like a you problem. He asked what I meant and I said, you forgetting everything is a you problem. I've dealt with it for years and I no longer want to hear it used as an excuse. I was frustrated. My back was killing me, and I just wanted to sit and enjoy my book in peace without being disturbed. He shook his head and said that was uncalled for and walked off. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Actually, it was called for. He can and should take steps to deal with his ADHD. You've been dealing with the consequences of his ADHD and memory issues. In a sense, you're enabling his failure to do something about them. With an infant child soon joining your family, it's time for him to do something, even to learn memory management tricks. Otherwise, he can't be trusted to be alone with a new baby. Deal with this before something really bad happens. You are the idiot. Have some empathy. The ADHD memory fog is brutal. You look up and it had been 6 hours and you didn't do anything you planned and you couldn't say what you did the entire time. Like someone is just stealing time from you. It's probably affecting his ability to do fun things more than you realize, because it can look like we're doing something fun, but we're trapped in a loop and don't know how to break it. I think he's using ADHD as an excuse to not help. Detailing that car was important to him. He didn't forget to do that. Opie, you should sit down and have a serious conversation with him, because this behavior will not work once you have a child. Oh, I forgot to change the diaper. Can you do it? Oh, I forgot to give the kid a bath. Can you do it? Oh, I forgot the kid in the bathtub. You should do it next time. He isn't forgetting to do chores, at least not all the time. He's just doing what he needs to do to get you to do the work, and he's been getting away with it for years. Unfortunately, as someone who has ADHD, and so does my partner, to the extent that your husband has, this is a your problem, meaning both of you are going to have to deal with it. You're married and his struggles will also affect you. Also, that kiddo you're carrying will probably have it too. My daughter came out with ADHD in ways I wasn't prepared for and had to study up on it and how to be a better parent. You both should really read up and learn how to live with ADHD, because it has so many ways it influences your life. My brother's getting married and asked if my twins, nearly adult male and female, could perform something. My daughter's in the choir and my son's in a band, so they're both musically talented and they love their uncle to bits, so they were over the moon and began planning something immediately. Well, I got a phone call from my future sister-in-law a couple of days ago. She was talking about how she wants her wedding to be perfect and have a very delicate vibe. In other words, pure and angelic. Then she made a joke about how opposite my twins were. Of course, I laughed because I didn't understand what she was implying. She finally got to the point though and asked if my daughter could just do a solo instead of having my son join. I asked her why, and she awkwardly explained that she fit the theme of her wedding better. No offense, of course, your son's great, he's just a bit much. He isn't too pure and innocent either, is he? Don't want to give my parents the wrong impression. I mean, I suppose. He's more into rock and stuff like that. His hair is messy and he dresses exactly the way you're imagining, but he's not a bad kid. And it's not like he was going to play a crazy rock and roll song at the wedding either. And he wasn't just going to show up in baggy ripped jeans. I told my future sister-in-law that what she requested was really unfair and that my brother asked both of them. It would crush my son if he was asked to back out. I asked her if she'd be willing to tell my son. She said no, that she's not his parent. I just told her that I won't be the one to break my son's heart. She called me a difficult old woman. I'm only 5 years older than her, LOL, who's going to ruin her special day. She yelled at me again about not taking responsibility as his parent before hanging up. Her sister texted me sometime later saying that my son's a big boy and he'll be fine. But they're not the ones who've been listening to him talk about how excited he is to perform for his uncle, who he sees as his father figure. Am I the idiot? I know that I should be the one to break it to him, but what she's requesting is not fair. She should have at least discussed it with my brother before he put the idea in their heads. Not the idiot. You need to talk to your brother about this ASAP. Let him sort things out with his bride. Do not mention the conversation with Bridezilla to either of the twins. If changes are called for, your brother should be the one to rescind the invitation to your children, not you. P.S. Dying to know if Precious' future sister-in-law also fits into her pure theme. Haha, and I mean by pure, she really actually meant that my daughter has never dated anyone before, and therefore, you know. I mean, why else would she insist that my daughter is innocent, pure, delicate, etc., while my son is not any of those things at all and would give her parents, extremely religious people, a bad impression? I mean, It's no secret that he's dated before. He had his first girlfriend in the 6th grade, lol. As for future sister-in-law, I mean, based on her own terms, she isn't very pure either. Geez, Bridezilla sounds horrible. OP, call your brother, explain to him what happened. Ask him what he wants you to do, but also clarify that you don't want to receive any more angry texts or calls. But honestly, I wouldn't let either kid perform. If you let your daughter perform without her brother, it's going to cause a rift, potentially sibling rivalry and jealousy. Your future sister-in-law is willing to damage her husband's relationship with his nephew for a long time and potentially drive a wedge between the twins for the sake of appearances. In what? A 5-minute musical performance? She just won the Shallowest Idiot of the Week award. Even worse, she lacks the guts to tell the young man she wants to reject that he would tarnish the perfect image she is trying to project. Well, if it's any consolation, the next time your brother gets married, it won't be to someone so superficial. My male 29 sister, 28, came over to visit me yesterday after she had an argument with her boyfriend, 31. She was crying to me about how he bought her artificial diamonds for her birthday, even though he knows how much she treasures and values genuine jewelry. I told her that maybe she should consider that real diamonds would be too much of a financial strain, but she seemed shocked that I would say this and kept going on. She told me how he took her to a cheaper resort for their last anniversary and how this example demonstrates his overall behavior, showing a lack of commitment to her. I honestly was super repulsed by the things she was saying and her lack of gratitude. I asked her what she did for him for their anniversary, and she got mad at me and told me to support her instead of arguing. I told her that her materialistic attitude towards relationships is toxic, and that she needs to reevaluate it because she honestly sounds like a gold digger. She lost it at this and screamed at me and called me a massive idiot and left my house. Am I the idiot? Oh no, my wallet's too small for my 50s and my diamond shoes are too tight. You are not the idiot, OP. When you go and complain about getting jewelry and being taken to a resort, you give your audience the right to share their opinion. Yeah, imagine crying about getting gifted beautiful jewelry. Crazy. Instead of being grateful for what her boyfriend gives her, she's finding fault because she wants him to spend more money on her as proof of her worth. Sounds a lot like a gold digger. I'm sorry, she thinks that a lack of spending money on her shows a lack of commitment. Holy hell, commitment isn't about money. She's 100% a gold digger. Also, I have to know, artificial diamonds, does she mean cubic zirconia or lab-grown? Because lab-grown diamonds are cheaper, come without the risk of unethical mining, and are chemically identical to a natural diamond. Also, natural diamonds are a scam. That's not really the issue here, but I doubt she could tell a lab-grown stone from a real one without help, so she needs to let it go. I do wonder if her boyfriend hasn't caught on to her motives. I see a divorce in her future. She will continue to be disappointed and, of course, blame others. You might want to distance yourself a bit from her so she doesn't blame you.